Guys, what is up? Welcome to a brand new vlog. Today we're out at the Mines. The Mines was actually the host venue for the CIMB Classic back in 2012, and I remember because this is where I saw Tiger Woods play for the first time. So anyway, today we are starting on the back 9 and this is the first hole. This is a very difficult hole. As you can tell, there is not much fairway. The left side has a hazard running down it and the right side is actually OB because it's a driving range. And there's a huge tree right down the center of the fairway. So if you had enough distance to be able to carry that tree, this hole would be pretty easy. But because I don't, I'm actually trying to hit a hybrid over here just to try and keep it short enough that the tree would not be blocking. But I actually walked up there and ended up still being behind the tree. So I guess over here you just have to anticipate to be able to hit a low second shot, because over here I'm hitting a low 6-iron. Just trying to make sure, well, the first goal is to make sure that it's low enough that it does not hit the tree, and just to try and get it as close to the green as possible. The pin is on the right side, so it's a little bit tougher for me to access it today with this low shot. So this was where I ended up, and the pin, as I said, is on the right side, so there is a slope uphill and downhill that I have to go, well, that my chip is going to have to go through. So I thought that it was going to be pretty quick. First hole of the day, so I don't really know the green speed yet, and I hit a actually pretty decent chip there with a 58-degree wedge, but it did not roll out as much as I thought it was going to, even though it was downhill. It actually just broke towards the right side, which meant it was going further and further away from the hole, as opposed to, because it was a left to right chip, so if you aim more left and let the slope feed it down, chances are it's going to be closer to the hole, as opposed to if you don't take enough break and it's just feeding further away from the hole. So I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's why I had this pretty long putt left for par. And so the caddy told me that the green speed today is actually 8.5, so it is pretty slow, and I hit a decent putt there, but it just did not go in. But it's okay, it was not an easy second shot anyway, and I guess that was a pretty long putt for par. So we'll take a bogey in the first hole and move on to the next hole. So this is a par 3 and it is a little bit uphill, and if you can tell, there is trees covering the entire right side of the green. So this hole, the pin today is kind of in the center and you can't really see the green from the tee box, so I couldn't really tell how much green there was on the left and the right of the pin. So I was just kind of aiming at the pin and hoping that the draw would, well, playing a draw, but also hoping that it would be a good amount of draw, that it would not draw off the green. But that's actually what happened, because I was just a tad bit left off the green, as you can see here. So I am chipping and I'm just pacing off to see how much I need to, well, how much I need to land it and let it roll. So the conditions are still pretty wet. And yes, we are playing leave clean and place because it's wet and there's a lot of mud on the ball. So anyway, hitting a 58-degree wedge here for my chip, and actually hit an okay one, but again did not take enough break. It actually broke a lot left to right, but I only had about a 3-footer left for par, so not too bad. Not as close as I would like it to be, but again, a 3-footer for par is a must make par. So just a little tap in there and move on to the next hole. So this is the view going up to the next hole. I just thought it was so pretty and you guys deserve to see it. It's almost like we're literally in the middle of a jungle, and this is one of the things about the mines that you can't really see in a lot of other places in KL, because KL is quite a city, so most of the golf courses there are still surrounded by city and buildings, and obviously there are still buildings here, but there are a lot of greenery and trees here, so it is very beautiful out here. So this is the next hole, which is a par 5. It's a little bit off a dog leg left, and it's actually a very slopey hole, so you do need to know where to land your ball. And actually the last 2 times that I've played here at the Mines, I've actually teed off from the blue tee box, and today I'm teeing off from the white. So where I'm aiming is actually the same place that I actually aim from the blue tee box, which I think ended up not really being the right aim, because after that shot I actually ended up on a pretty severe downhill slope. So if you get the right slope here, and well, if it's not so early in the morning, the ball can actually kick a good 30 yards further because of the slope. But I was stuck on this slope, so I'm hitting a 5-wood here because I think that a 3-wood is going to be too low. And anyway, this is a par 5, so if you really didn't think that the wood was going to fly high enough, you could even hit an iron. So I knew that my 5-wood was going to have enough height to be able to get up off that hill over there. So that's why I hit it, and I left myself over here with a little, I believe it was 48 yards chip, and I am hitting a 58-degree wedge. So this is the third shot on the par 5, and the pin is tucked in front. So, and it is a little bit elevated, the green is a little bit elevated, so you do want to carry the entire way there, but unfortunately I was just about 2 yards too short, which is not a very good shot for a par 5 approaching with a wedge. But anyway, I left myself with this chip here and almost made it, but just gave myself a little tap in par on this par 5, and it's not too bad, no damage done. So let's move on to the next hole. This is a really beautiful hole. I think it looks so nice on camera, and of course it looks nice there as well. So the entire left side of the fairway is actually covered with bunkers, so it is advisable to aim more towards the right side. The hazard actually does not come in play. It's pretty short and is a pretty easy carry, so the only thing that's really coming into play is the bunkers on the left side. So you do need to aim more towards the center right of this green. Of this fairway, which is what it is. Hi, chicken. After that tee shot, I had about 172 yards. There is a water hazard running down the left side of this fairway and the green as well. So you do need to make sure you aim more towards the right side. And there are bunkers down the right side. So this is not the easiest approach shot. I think for approach shots like this, really just choose a club that you're most comfortable with. For instance, if on this hole you were supposed to hit a club that you really do not like, I would probably not recommend hitting it. Just hit something that's gonna, a club shorter or a club longer, and something that's gonna make sure that you're gonna be safe. Because the worst thing would be to bring that water in play or to bring unnecessary OBs or hazard, which is what is down the right side. So anyway, I made it just on the green. It did not roll out as much as I thought it was going to, so I had that pretty longish putt for birdie and I left it short. So it is quite deceiving because it looks like the greens are really quick, but because some are being hollow-tined at the moment, they're not as quick as they usually are. So it is a little bit hard to putt hard when the greens look slopey and smooth. But anyway, we'll move on to the next hole, which is a par for hole 14. There are a bunch of trees down the left side, and there is 2 bunkers down the right side and some water hazard as well. So I am aiming somewhere left of those bushy trees on the right side, near those sticky trees down the left side, and just aiming towards the largest side of the fairway. And I hit it exactly where I was aiming. So this is actually the view from this hole. I think it is so pretty, and what's funny is that was what I was initially aiming at, that little iguana lizard walking on the right side, if you can see, and it actually ended up on the right side of the fairway by the time I was hitting it. So that's the lesson for you guys. Please do not choose moving targets. But after that shot anyway, I had 120 yards. This green is a little bit elevated and it is a bit uphill, so I'm hitting a pitching wedge here and just hitting a full pitching wedge and just hoping that the green feeds down towards the left side, because there is quite a big slope from the right to the left on this green, so you do want to hit a little bit more towards the right side as well. And I hit a pretty good shot there and carried it about pin high and just went a little bit over. So I had this putt over here for birdie. It was about 12 feet. And again, if you've seen my other vlogs, I said this is something that I like to do. I like to go in between the line and kind of see where the putt is going to break. And on that putt, as you can tell, I saw it breaking right to left. And it's a little bit downhill, but this hole is one of the holes that is being hollow-tined at the moment. So I know that it was not going to be as quick as the other holes. And the green speed today is 8.5. So it's not very quick anyway, but because it is downhill, I still do not really want to ram it too hard. Especially because this is a birdie putt. So the best thing would be obviously to give yourself a good chance, but if you don't, at worst, you should just give yourself a tap in par. So this was my attempt at birdie on this hole. And it actually did not come back as much as I thought it was going to. So I had a little tap in par there, which is not too bad. And moving on to the next hole, which is a par 4. So this par 4 is not very long, it's 305 yards. But on holes like this, I think if you are not really confident with hitting your driver, because there are bunkers down the right side and a big rough down the left side, and since the hole is not very long, if the driver is not a club that you're confident with, I would definitely recommend just hitting something that you're confident with, because even if you only hit something that goes 200 yards, you only have 100 yards left to the hole. So you don't really need to hit a long club here if you're not confident with it. There is nothing short of those bunkers on the right side. So if you hit it probably about 200 yards, you would be pretty much clear of everything and have a much wider fairway. But I am pretty confident with my driver, so I did go with driver over there. And I had about 70 yards left. There wasn't much roll today, so I knew that I would be safe of those that slope down the left side. But on a regular day, my drive might have ended up going down the left slope, which was what I was talking about previously, as you can see on the left side of the screen here. So I'm just hitting a full 58-degree wedge here to this pin. This green is a little bit elevated, so you do want to play the full carry distance and not try to roll it up there. And after that shot, I just had a little tap in, so that was a nice little bonus. And let's move on to hole 16, which is a par 3. So this is a pretty short par 3. It is downhill and the green is not very big, but then again, it's not a very long hole, so it might seem a little bit, I think on holes like this, the green does seem smaller because it's downhill and it doesn't seem like you have much space to land it. So it's best to really choose a good target here, because you don't want to mess up short holes like this. But of course, you're not going to be thinking about that when you're hitting. All you're going to be thinking about is choosing a good target and choosing a good club as well. So on this hole, the hollow tinding is a little bit more visible. And even though it's downhill, I actually did putt it a little bit harder. But for some reason, it actually broke a little bit right before it broke left, which was not what I was expecting. But that could be due to the hollow tinding as well, I'm not too sure. But it's still a tap-in par. And we're moving on to hole 17. Hole 17, as you can see, is the right side is full of bunkers, and there's pretty much nothing down the left side. But as I mentioned before, I usually play this off the blues, which I would aim left side of the bunkers. But since today I was playing off the whites, I wanted to try and be a little bit more aggressive and see if I can carry those bunkers down the right side. So I was actually going over the left side of that most left-right bunker, if that makes sense. And I actually started on line, but it faded a little bit more than I wanted it to. But it's not too bad. I still had a shot to the green. And this green is actually quite elevated. The pin is behind as well today. So you do need quite a bit of distance to get it up there. And that's why I'm just hitting an 8-iron here. And this green, well, you can't really see from my shot because my shot's actually sloping in the opposite direction. But this entire hole actually slopes towards the left side past this point. So from the green there, everything slopes towards the left side, and the entire left side is full of bunkers as well. So you do want to go a little bit more towards the right side of the pin, especially because the pin today was tucked on the left side of the green. And I hit a really good shot there from the rough, and it, as I said, it bounced towards the left side, so I am on the left side of the green. But I still only have about this 10-footer for birdie. And this was my birdie attempt. And unfortunately, I left it. I did not take enough break. And it's another tap in par, guys. So let's move on to hole 18. This is actually, well, I'm not really sure if it is, but for me, I think this is the most interesting hole on this golf course. The entire left side is covered with trees, and I'm actually just hitting a hybrid here because there is a bunker down there, and this hybrid will be short of that bunker. So I was talking to my friend about this, and I actually told her that I think if I were to actually play a tournament here, I would actually just take a driver and hit it down towards the right side, because the right side is actually just another hole. And from that side, you would have a much shorter approach shot. Because I'm hitting a hybrid here, I'm actually ending up with a pretty long second shot. So I guess it really depends on the situation, but I actually think that if you're not too confident with hitting it down this fairway because it is pretty narrow. It's not such a bad idea to just smash one down the right side because there's pretty much nothing there other than another hole. So for my second shot, as I said, it's a pretty long shot and it was into the wind. So the green is a little bit downhill, but there is quite a bit of a slope in front of the green and the pin today. So you do want to make sure that you have enough to carry it past that. If not, you are definitely going to end up short. So I'm hitting a 5-iron here and just aiming it a little left of the pin because the right side does slope towards the right side. So anything that you hit right tends to just bounce right. And there are bunkers down the right side as well. So the safer part is definitely the left side of this green. As you can see, I just have an uphill putt here. And it's a little bit slow because it is uphill. But I thought I hit enough but still did not give it enough speed. But it's another tap in par. So guys, that is the back 9 here at the Mines. And stay tuned for my other video, which is going to be the front 9 here at the Mines. I hope you guys enjoyed this 9. I think it's such a beautiful 9, and the front 9 actually has more character in my opinion. So stay tuned for that vlog. See you guys next time.